Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. I'd like to dedicate this week's video to my special mother. We love you, Ma. And this week's Parshas, we have a double Parsha of Vayakhel Pekude. In Vayakhel, the Torah talks about the women when it came to their donating to the Mishkan. So the Torah says two things. First of all, it says that Vayavo ha'anashim al ha'anashim, that the men came with the women. And why is the Torah saying that the men came with the women? Because there was something special about what the women did. The Torah doesn't actually say that the men came with the women. It actually uses the language of al hanashim, on the women. That means that the men did something with something that was on the women. They gave their donations with the jewelry that was on their women, on their wives. That's what their wives actually came to give to Hashem. Why did the women want to do that? Because they were trying to impart a lesson to themselves and to everybody watching, that when they came with their fine jewelry, something that they, of course, enjoy wearing, even though they enjoyed it, they were trying to show that they were willingly taking it off in service of Hashem. Because as much as their jewelry was important to them, donating it to Hashem's Mishkan was even more important. And therefore the Torah says that the men came with the women. The men actually tried to rip a page out of the women's books and said, maybe this is how we should be giving charity. Taking what is dear to us and giving it towards Hashem. And also when it came towards spinning the wool, the fleece that was on the back of the goat's hair, the Torah says, they are the ones, they tavu sa'izim. Then they spun the goats. And this was actually incredible craftsmanship that the Mefarshim explained, the commentators explained that they actually did this while the hair was still attached to the goat's back. They still did it over there. Why? So the Sepharno explains, one of the commentators explains, that fleece of a goat, that once it's shorn off the back of the animal, it starts to lose some of its luster each time it's handled. And so therefore, they wanted to make sure that it was still in its perfect form. Now, how much would it lose after a few hours of spinning? How much luster? Probably very minimal. But the women didn't care. The women wanted to make sure that Hashem had the absolute best. And these are the women who were wise women. They were the ones who, now what does it mean these wise women? This is what I want to share with you. These wise women are the ones that have this little bini yisera, this extra amount of knowledge or understanding that over men. And what they are able to go that extra step and do a little bit more. And the Torah goes out of its way to point out how special it was that the women were, that the women did these things, that the men came with the women, and how the women were the ones that, how they spun the goat's hair. And so therefore, this is very, very important for us to understand the wonderful power that the women have, that deeper understanding, that deeper connection that they have. Now you might ask me, 1 second, but the men can do the same thing, can't they? So the answer is yes, and I'm very sure when we do that, we're actually tapping into, we're following the leader, who are the women in this sense, and we're tapping into our inner female that our neshama has, which may be a little discussion in itself. But you see over here that the Torah goes out of its way specifically to tell us the extra wisdom that the women do have, and it's very important for us to understand that and to follow their advice in many areas, especially though when it comes to the service of Hashem and giving towards others, giving charity. Have an amazing Shabbos. Thank you for listening.